Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are presenting our maths problem of the week, but before we get started I'm going to make you aware of a change that I'm making to how I present this. So, used to present the problem on a Tuesday, present the solution on a Thursday. Now you will see everything on the same day. So the video will start with the problem. There will be a point to pause or quit out of the video, and then the rest of the video will include the solution or solutions to the problem. Now, with that said, let's get into this week's problem. Now, we are helping Little Red Riding Hood go to her grandma's brand new house. Grandma, being as thoughtful as she is, has given you directions to her new house. These houses, although they look like they're neighbours, they're actually very far away from each other. So we need to follow the map perfectly, otherwise we'll be in the completely wrong place. When you actually go to look at the directions, they don't look quite the same as what we have in front of us. In our mild problem, at the first fork in the road, we need to take the road marked 5/10. At the second fork, we need to take the road marked 10/12. And at the third fork, we need to take the road marked 14/6. Now, none of our road signs show any of those numbers. What we need to do is try and find the equivalent fraction. So what is the same as 5/10? Look at the two answers we have and then move from there. In our medium problem, we come across the same thing. At the first fork in the road, we need to take the road marked 6/24. At the second fork in the road, we need to take the road marked 40/48. And at the third fork, we need to take the road marked 27/18. Again, we need to find the equivalent fractions and move in that direction to get to the correct house for Grandma. In our hot problem, it's even more difficult. At the first fork in the road, we need to go the road marked 72/288. At the second fork, we need to go the road marked 126/144. And at the third fork, we need to go the direction marked 238/102. Now, that is it. I will leave a version of the problem where you can pause and take your time and think about the directions you need to go, but until literally about 10 seconds in this video, take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Now, this is where I want you to pause, take in the problem and take your time and unpause when you're ready for the answer. So you've paused, you've attempted the problems. I'm giving you another warning now. If you don't pause or go away from the video, this will reveal the answers before you've had a chance to try it. So, let's start with our mild problem. But before we get into it in too much detail, I want to go over what I mean by equivalent fractions. Take it away, other Grant, somewhere else in this room. Hello, original Grant. Here's other Grant to explain equivalent fractions. So, equivalent fractions basically just means fractions that are the same as each other. Now, I'm going to use the example of our mild problem and our first fork in the road. We need to go the direction marked 5/10, and we have a choice of 1/2 and 1/4. I have some lovely perforated paper here that I can split into those fractions. So if I was to split this in half, these are what my two halves look like. If I split it into quarters, this is what it's going to look like. And if I split it into tens, I've got lots and lots of little pieces. 10 little pieces that are the exact same. Now, I'm going to lay these out on the floor. I'm going to lay out 5/10, 1/2, and 1/4. and I want you to see what I see. So, here's what we can see. So when you look at this, which of these looks the same? Does 5/10 look the same as a half, or does 5/10 look the same as a quarter? If you've said a half, well done. That's the direction that we should go for our first fork in the road. Now, that's the very, very basic bare bones explanation of what equivalent fractions are. We need to do something called factoring, which is where you divide the number down and try and get to the simplest fraction that we can. When we divide 5/10 by 5, so each number dividing by 5, that would give us 1/2, which is why we can see that quite clearly with our demonstration. I'll now let you go back to our original Grant and he will explain the rest of the solution. Thank you very much, other Grant. As quite rightly said, 5/10 is the same as 1/2. So we had to move this way to our second fork. At the second fork, we need to go the road marked 10/12. Now, we have to remember our factors and think, what could that be the same as? If we divide the number 10 by 2, that would give us 5. And if we divide the number 12 by 2, that gives us 6. So 10/12 is the same as 5/6. So again, we need to go this direction. Our final fork is a bit more complicated because not only do we have to think about factoring the numbers down and dividing to try and get to the simplest fraction, we also are working with a combination of mixed numbers and top-heavy fractions. So, 14/6. Let's think about this. What could we divide both those numbers by? Let's try the number 2. Both of those numbers can divide by 2. So dividing 14 by 2 gives us 7, and dividing 6 by 2 gives us 3. What is the number 2 the same as in terms of thirds for this example? The number 2 is the same as 6/3. What would be 6/3 plus a third? 7/3. So 2 1/3 must be the same as 7/3, which is the same as 14/6. So in our mild problem, our grandma lives at house B. Let me know how you did in the comments below, and in about 10 seconds, you will see the solution to our mild problem. But until then, take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much, mild solution Grant. Let's look at our medium solution. So, like we said before, we need to think about our equivalent fractions and factoring and reducing our fractions down to the simplest form they can be. Looking at our mild problem, our first fork in the road, we need to go the direction marked 6/24. Now, we can divide both the number 6 and the number 24 by the same number, the number 6. When we divide the number 6 by 6, that gives us 1, and when we divide the number 24 by 6, that gives us 4. So, the first direction that we need to go is 1/4. In our second problem, this is where the trick lies. Don't look at the bottom number, look at the top number first, and think about what we can divide by. We can divide the top number by 8 to give us 5, and the bottom number by 8 to give us 6. So although 48 does divide by 8 and 6, we need to divide it by 8 to get 5/6. If you try and divide it the other way, it will not give you any sort of normal fraction. So the second fork, we need to go the direction of 5/6. At our last fork, we need to go the direction marked 27/18. So that makes it more difficult. We're working with top-heavy fractions and mixed numbers because we're trying to figure out which of these directions we need to go. If we change these numbers to top-heavy fractions, that might help us because then we know the sort of final destination our top-heavy fraction we're working with needs to go. So 1 1/2 as a top-heavy fraction is 3/2. and 2 1/3 as a fraction is 7 over 3. 27 over 18. What number could we divide both those numbers by? Both of those numbers divide by 9. So 9 divided by 27 is 3, and 18 divided by 9 is 2. So we have 3 over 2, which is the same as 1 1/2. So the final direction we go is this way. And in our medium problem, our grandma lives at house B. Let me know how you got on in the comments below, and in about 10 seconds you'll hear from Hot Solution Grant. But until then, take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much, Medium Solution Grant. This is your hot solution. So I will go through this actually very quickly, because basically what you need to do all the time is factor down your numbers until it is the simplest fraction it can be. In our hot problem, when you factor down 72 over 288 or 72 288ths, that gets you down to 1/4. So we go this direction first. In our second fork in the road, when we factor down 126 144ths, that gets us down to 7/8. Lots of dividing and thinking, how much further down can we make these numbers go? But it does go all the way down to 7/8. At our last fork in the road, when we factor down 238 102nds, that would give us a fraction of 7 over 3, which, if you've listened to the mild solution, equals 2 1/3. So we go this way. So in our hot problem, our grandma lives in house D. Let me know how you got on in the comments below, and as always, take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!